It's going down. We gonna go ahead and hop right on into this. We ain't playing no games. We ain't playing no intros. Listen, my guys, we are gathered here today to discuss Fanni Willis. You understand, it's a whole lot going on, and I'm just trying to make it as apparent to you as possible with straight facts that I have gathered here today for you all to assume whatever you wish or whatever you will. You can leave those comments in the comment section. So Fanni Willis, her previous campaign, she ran for office. Before her as a district attorney, she was the deputy district attorney to the person she replaced. Her previous campaign was funded by the International Brotherhood of Police Officers. Is that surprising to you? Police unions bargain with employees on behalf of their members to secure compensation and benefits, protect employers from retaliation. This union typically gives over 90% of the campaign contribution to Democratic candidates. What? What am I saying? I'm saying that, let's say, for instance, you have a police officer who is acting within the scope of duty, or he says that he was acting within the scope of duty, and he feels like he was justified in killing someone, for instance. This the same people, the same organizations that's going to stand by them, make sure that they have legal representation and that they potentially get off or that the situation is de-escalated. This is them. But yeah, her campaign was ran on saying, we love our Black members in our community. We support them. We care for them.
Paul Howard has held the seat since 1997, but his challenger, Fanni Willis, worked in his office for years.
Paul Howard is running to keep his seat as the district attorney of Fulton County, now wrapping up his 6th term, hoping for a 7th, and he's been holding that position since 1997. June 9th primary, there was a 3rd candidate in the race. He's since dropped out and put his endorsement behind Howard. He says he's confident that he's going to pull a bigger percentage.
Howard, meanwhile, criticized Willis for getting endorsed by the police union. Willis admitted to getting 2 contributions from the Atlanta chapter of the International Brotherhood of Police Officers in a recent interview with us.
She has over 500 pastors who are fighting for her and saying, you know what she's doing is God sent. She's some sort of angel, she's locking these people up, getting them off the streets by whatever means necessary, even if it is through corruption, the same corruption that she says that she's combating. That doesn't matter. She's doing it in the name of God. So, main controversy with these unions is their obstructionism and their prioritization of members' interests over the interests of the communities they police. This is fed. So we have Trump, who says something to the tune of, Fanni slept with one of the YSL members in a Young Thug RICO case.
Why would he think that or say that?
Biden's newest lackey, Atlanta DA, Fanni Willis. So corrupt, Willis got caught hiding a relationship with a gang member she was prosecuting.
Moments ago, NBC obtained an email sent from Fanni Willis to her staff responding to the Trump ad. She slammed the ad as derogatory and false and urges her staff to remain focused. A Rolling Stone article from January, written by music and culture writer Andre G. Here's the article, which talks about how Fanni Willis, back in 2019, served as defense attorney to an Atlanta-based rapper named YSL Mondo. Now, here's the context. Mondo is a co-founder of the rap group YSL Crew, whose most famous member is rapper Young Thug, who now prosecutor Fanni Willis has indicted along with multiple members of the YSL Crew in a sweeping RICO case that alleges that they are not a rap crew, they are a gang. And note again that Willis was not Mondo's prosecutor at the time. She was his defense lawyer. A Trump-supporting, not so respectful of women, hip-hop podcaster named DJ Academics has a role in spreading this lie as well. He promoted the claim on X Twitter today. And here he is with Trump at a UFC fight in April.
Other commentators say she either had an intimate relationship with YSL member, was an informant.
You wrote about
Yes.
the relationship, such as it was between Fanni Willis and YSL Mondo. What was that relationship?
Yeah, so Ms. Willis, she represented Mondo during a 2019 aggravated assault case during a brief stint where a brief break from her prosecutorial career where she had her own practice. And yeah, she represented him. She was was his defense attorney.
We can look at this in two ways. One, when they killed him, the guy who she was in a relationship with, or either had a relationship with, when they killed him, they took her informant or they took her lover. One of the two ways.
But yeah, I want to be clear, like at no point during our conversation or in my report did he imply that there was anything romantic that went on between them. He said that they had like a mother, son, auntie to nephew kind of relationship at points. Like she was a mentor figure. She, you know, would give him advice, I guess, to keep him on the right track, so to speak, here and there. But again, there was no implication of anything unethical during their relationship, their professional relationship.
And so this union, let's go back to that. So doesn't this make a lot of sense? We got a lot going on in Atlanta right now. We have literally dudes getting eaten up by bed bugs in the correctional facilities. We got, I don't know, police officers who are killing people and getting away with it. Case closed case. What's really going on here? Now, if they took her informant, they possibly blew an aspect of her case, making it imminent to book the YSL members and hurry and prosecute, causing her to tack on a series of charges like she did with Trump, hoping one of them will stick, which is kind of what we are seeing. And let's keep in mind that her term ends in 2024, so it's be time for her to run again. So the whole basis of her being in office has been centered around, you know, like I said, these high-profile cases. Publicly exposing that relationship could have also made it imminent for her to prosecute Trump, as I stated, and issue a gag order so that Trump couldn't say anything else about the nature of that relationship that he was speaking about.
So friends, at long last, a judge has finally placed a gag order on Donald Trump.
And you mean to tell me, and so this is actually what we've seen. We've seen, you know, judges say, listen, we're going to order him not to mention anything or any of the details. You know, he can't post, he can't say anything about it. And so this is really what we're seeing unfolded. But hypothetically, if you will, perhaps this is what's happening.
The title of your office and having on social media that you, as this political office holder, are holding a fundraiser for the opponent of someone that this political office is investigating. I don't know that it's an actual conflict, but I use that phrase, what were you thinking, where the prosecutor thought I could prosecute the co-defendant of someone I defended. It's a what are you thinking moment. The optics are horrific. If you are trying to have the public believe that this is a nonpartisan, driven by the facts, and I'm not here to critique decisions, the decision was made, but if we are trying to maintain confidence that this investigation is pursuing facts in a nonpartisan sense, no matter who the district attorney is, we follow the evidence where it goes and ignore the fact that I hosted a fundraiser for the political opponent of someone I've just named a target. That strikes me as problematic. Maybe not from an actual conflict level, but if we are at a cocktail party and people are asking, do you think that this is a fair and balanced approach to things? I do. Well, how do you explain this? How does one explain? I mean, that's the concern I'm working through, is that it's not a lowercase a appearance. It's like a capital A with flashy lights fundraiser, district attorney for the political opponent of someone I've named the target of my investigation, where I'm the legal advisor to the grand jury, and I'm on national media almost nightly talking about this investigation. That's problematic.
Okay. You mean to tell me Fanni Willis prosecuted people she used to represent? She was a lawyer. Fanni Willis or Willis Firm, LLC, something like that. She was an attorney, and she represented high-profile celebrities and members of such nature, shall we say. And we do see some business as she's not apparently targeting, or we see some biasness as she's not apparently targeting all Atlanta gangs, rather only the high profile gangs. Now this could be a few reasons because, like I said, relevance. She's getting ready to have to run again for another term, and she's trying to, do that, or either she wants to be in the media, she wants to get this, she know that she wants to run for office in another aspect after this is over for her, and so she's building, herself a little repertoire, a little resume, if you will. So she's only going after these high profile cases with these big name celebrities, much like the celebrities that she was once representing. If not, probably many of these persons who she represented were in relationship or in relation to the people who she's now going after.
She kind of warns him, stay on the right path because, if I go back to be the prosecutor, I'm gonna come for you.
I'm guessing reputation is everything. The attention whore of politics. This is scary. 73,145 people, Dems, voted for her. Now, in 2017, Fanni Willis refused to prosecute a veteran Atlanta police officer for the death of DeAndre Phillips. Fulton DA won't prosecute Atlanta police officer in fatal 2017 shooting. Fulton County District Attorney, and this is according to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, Fanni Willis, it's so crazy, it's around the time of elections too. They was like, yeah, we're going to get you out of here. Fulton County District Attorney Fanni Willis has decided not to prosecute a veteran Atlanta police officer for the 2017 shooting death of DeAndre Phillips. Officer Yasin Abdullah, out of uniform, confronted Phillips, 24, in the parking lot of the Atlanta Police Department Annex on Donald Lee Howell Parkway after he said he smelled marijuana. Phillips, sitting alone in a friend's vehicle at the time, got behind the wheel and tried to drive away. Security cameras showed Abdullah had gotten inside the vehicle as Phillips pulled out of the annex parking lot. He was not, as he claimed, hanging halfway out the car as Phillips continued driving. Willis, in an interview with the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, said the fact that Abdullah was inside the car weakened any potential criminal case against the officer. He was kidnapped is what happened, she said. Phillips was in control of the vehicle as it left the parking lot, Willis said. He was also moving towards the gun on the floorboard of the front passenger seat where Abdullah was sitting, Willis said. She said an expert who studied the blood splattered pattern in the vehicle confirmed as much. Phillips was shot once in the head.
We begin tonight with the family of a young father in Atlanta who was killed by police, and his family wants to know why people are not protesting his death. DeAndre Phillips was shot near the police annex building on Donald Lee Howell Parkway in 2017. Caitlin Ross reports the GBI concluded its investigation within 5 months, but 3 years later, the district attorney has not dropped the case nor moved forward with charges against the officers.
It's not nowhere, it's not solved, and it's not closed, you see? It's just there. And it's been like that for 3 years.
DeAndre Phillips' mother, Tavana, feels like people have forgotten her son, who was just 24 when he was killed.
It's hard because it's like, oh, well, it's not our family, we don't care. But he has family that cares. And we want justice, and we want it now.
According to police, Officer Yasim Abdullah shot Phillips inside his car after he and another officer allegedly smelled marijuana coming from it and confronted him. Police initially said Abdullah was being dragged by the car when he shot Phillips, but an attorney for the Phillips family says surveillance video does not show that, and Phillips was never aggressive toward the officers. The GBI says it handed its investigation of the shooting over to the Fulton County DA's office in May of 2017. And Phillips' mother says she hasn't heard anything from the DA in more than a year.
He told us by July 2019 that he was going to be done with the investigation, and as you see, it's 2020.
In a statement, District Attorney Paul Howard told 11 Alive he was planning to bring the case before a grand jury in July or August of 2020 before the COVID-19 pandemic hit. He says he will present the case after courts reopen, but noted there was no body camera or dash cam footage to assist in the investigation. Tavana says that's not enough.
Paul Howard, we had a meeting with him one day, then he canceled it because he said it was raining. So It's nowhere.
She says she's been encouraged to see so many people outraged by the death of George Floyd at the hands of police in Minneapolis, and she hopes it means her son will one day get justice.
People are really trying to listen now and see what's going on.
Atlanta police told 11 Live Officer Abduladad and his partner, who was at the scene during the shooting, are both still employed by APD as investigators.
Willis said it was impossible to determine whether Phillips grabbed the gun, even if it was just an attempt. She said Abdullah acted within his rights when he responded with deadly force. This GBI, after its 2017 investigation into the shooting, said at the time the gun found in the car did not play a role in the final outcome. They also concluded that the marijuana that was discovered had not been lit when Abdullah approached the vehicle, but Willis said there were other witnesses who told investigators with the DA's office that the car reeked of marijuana. Attorney Chris Stewart, who represents Phillips' family, said he plans to respond to Willis's decision not to prosecute the next week. So did y'all just check what I just told you? I said, but Willis said there were other witnesses who told investigators that the DA's office that the car reeked of marijuana. And think about this union, this fraternity to protect, right? Attorney Chris Stewart, who represents Phillips' family, said he plans to respond to Willis's decision not to prosecute next week. The Atlanta NAACP expressed concerns with the DA's findings and has requested a meeting to discuss them, said Chapter Vice President Gerald Griggs. This decision, along with Willis's decision to recuse her office from prosecuting two Atlanta police officers charged in the June 2020 death of Rayshard Brooks, creates a disturbing pattern. Chris said, justice does not demand you side with the police. What? Are you guys hearing what is happening here? Are you hearing what is going on? Willis said Thursday that the case was closed. The case was closed. She said decisions on other recent police shootings long delayed by her predecessor, Paul Howard, would be handed down soon. Those cases are expected to include the 2017 death of Marion Robinson, who was shot at 76 times inside his girlfriend's East Point apartment in August 2016 by a fugitive task force made up of local law enforcement and federal authorities. What? So keep in mind what I'm telling you now. The case was closed. The case was closed, y'all. Listen to what I'm telling you if y'all don't peep game on what's going on.
Protesters are pushing back against Fulton County District Attorney Fanni Willis's decision to dismiss the case of DeAndre Phillips.
You're telling us community members that you're going to believe someone who has already lied under oath 3 separate times.
This is surveillance video of the January 2017 shooting involving off-duty Atlanta police officer Yassim Abdullahad. He shot Phillips during a confrontation on Donald Lee Hollowell Parkway. Family members say Phillips complied with the officer's commands.
The reason why these officers keep doing it is because they keep slapping them on their hand. Yes. They need to be held accountable.
We just want justice for my nephew. I want my sister to be able to have some peace.
Advocates say Willis overlooked Abdullahad's history of violence towards citizens and another open case involving the officer.
She chooses not to operate in integrity and with integrity when it comes to prosecuting these cases.
She was the deputy district attorney for Fulton County for 17 years. She's out of pocket. She's parading the case around, speaking publicly about things that should not be found, that should only be found in the discovery when it comes to the Trump case. And no judge, Georgia's governor, who's not even a Democrat, who you'd think would jump at the opportunity to call her out, is sitting by doing absolutely nothing.
You see, in May, Georgia Governor Brian Kemp signed into law a bill to establish a commission with the power to remove local prosecutors who refuse to uphold the law. Reasons include willful misconduct in office, mental or physical incapacity, willful and persistent failure to carry out statutory duties, conviction of a crime and conduct prejudicial to the administration of justice that lowers the reputation of the office. The commission will be comprised of 8 members. 3 were appointed last week.
He's also been subpoenaed to testify against Trump. And in this very important investigation that led to the prosecution of this RICO case, he spoke to them right before they went ahead and brought on these charges. So, but at one point in time, and if you don't remember, when you look for it, it's far in the back, because so much has been tacked on about Trump and whatever in the media. So you might have to go to page like 27 of whatever source that you're going through and look for it. But like, listen, she was going after Brian Kemp for a minute. She was like, listen, I hate to have to prosecute you, blah blah blah. And this is when he kind of changed his tune. This is when his daughter's boyfriend ends up in a fatal accident where his car blows up, catches on fire, and so much happens. Because she has something on him that's making him say, you know what, I'm going to stay out of this. And every time I speak, I'm going to just, only say something like, don't get involved. Like, this is absurd. Because that's what we're seeing happening. And is she put in place to clean up dim shit? Like, is she put there to clean? Is she the fall person? Because it seems like, it really seems like that's what's happening. And, I'm just asking. I want to know because a lot of people's lives are being, are being consumed by what's going on. It's a lot of taxpayer dollars that's going in this too, other than the 75,000 people that voted for her, Democrats that voted for her to get into office. It's a lot that she's over. She's going after people who could potentially be innocent. She doesn't care because the names are big. And so, we need, and she's speaking about, like I said, information that should only be found in a discovery. There's no way you should be talking about this high profile case in the extent that you are, and publicly doing so. You are jeopardizing, you are putting their lives at risk. Like, you're talking about your life being put at risk, etc. But you're also putting not only their lives at risk, but the people who are associated with them, but the people who represented them. Either it's now, or either they said, I want to move as far away from this as I possibly can. Just knowing that they were associated with these people, now their lives are in jeopardy. And you're going after them, talking about they incited some type of war. But look what you're doing. Look what you're doing. Fulton County District Attorney vows to clear backlog of cases. Now, like I said, is she the person that came in to clean up shit? Because this article was found April 21st of 2021 or 11 Alive by Doug Richards. Okay, Atlanta. Fulton County's district attorney said she will start seeking indictments this spring on a backlog of police corruption cases, more than 30 of which Fanni Willis inherited after she took office in January. Now, I want you to remember something. Didn't I just tell you that she's with this organization? Didn't I just tell you that she covers for her own? Didn't I just read an article to you telling you that she closed cases literally where, if this had gotten the widespread national attention, would be something that everyone everywhere would be calling for justice. She closed these cases on these black people and then went on to run a campaign saying, I support these people. These are the people, I care about the black people, the minority. She doesn't. Clearly. We believe we are looking in the right direction, Willis told 11 Alive News Wednesday in an exclusive interview. And it's so sad because even after I'm saying all this, even after I'm bringing all these factual things to the light, it's still going to be people who say, you know what, you're ignorant, you're stupid, you don't know anything, you're talking about her because you ride with her. And you'll see who's invested. You'll start to see who's really associated with her, who wants to tack themselves onto her, who wants to come up off of her name, and who really just wants to somehow stand for this. And what I mean by stand for this is we are literally right now seeing how easy it is for the DA to build a case for you. And Boosie said it. Maybe he's not the best example, but it's a lot of people who have said this, who have experienced it firsthand. But these people literally want to build cases, with little to no evidence, just by charging you on with a whole bunch of hoopla, and then, could be potentially, entering in things in the evidence that are not factual, and then going in dismissing what they want to, and doing what they want to. They're operating in a land of lawlessness. Look at this. We believe we are looking in the right direction, Willis told 11 Alive News Wednesday in an exclusive interview. She said her office inherited 100 public corruption cases when she took office in January, 1/3 of which are alleged police misconduct. By June, she predicts 10% will be cleared. Some of those cases will go to the grand jury. Some of them we will clear the officers after we look at the evidence, Willis said. She said she's given herself 2 years to clear the entire backlog. Among the cases she has inherited is that of DeAndre Phillips, 24-year-old, shot to death after police smelled marijuana coming from his car in 2017 is what they told her, and she stood on that. There's a lot of backlog, said the Phillips family attorney Chris Stewart. We in Atlanta have to be the same symbol we are in civil rights as a city with the cases that we have, so we're not looking forward to her fulfilling the role and get these families justice. But when it comes to law, we're supposed to have the right to a speedy trial. So much is going on here in violation, these people out of pocket, and it's so common. It's a commonality that people are like, you know what, it doesn't matter, that little aspect doesn't matter. But so it's a lot that's going on here. Stewart of Atlanta is also the civil attorney for George Floyd in Minnesota. Stewart says the verdict in the Chauvin case may have cleared a path for juries to more broadly consider police misconduct cases in Atlanta and elsewhere. It's okay to still support good cops, but still hold cops that kill people, in particular black people, accountable. Juries don't have the choice or to choose a side, Stewart said. The George Floyd case has society paying attention to the issues, Willis added. She said one of the public corruption cases she hopes to start in the next 2 years is the involvement of former President Trump, who allegedly tried to manipulate election results in a phone call in the statutory estate. So you mean to tell me that you care about black people so much, you're running your whole campaign talking about how you care about black people, you love them, you know what I'm saying? We need to hold these officers accountable, but you're letting them off, my guy. You're funded by an association who's letting them off, my guy. Not only are you just letting these people who are killing these young black men off, but you're strictly going after the high profile and the black men after having represented them. This is the psychology of this individual, and now you're going after President Trump and people who you claim are conspiring or co-defendants of his. You're going after them now on baseless evidence and an insurmountable amount of charges in hopes of tacking on some sort of evidence that will stick based on a grand jury. You're saying we are ready to go. So you're implying that you've already selected a jury. So you're implying already that there is biasness in that jury. With that jury you've already selected. You're handling this case loosely, but then you're bringing on charges against someone who you're accusing of doing the exact same thing. You are jeopardizing lives, inciting hateful crimes against all Republicans. You can always be on the other side of this vindictiveness of Miss Fanni Willis if it so happens to come down to that. So what we have here, let's continue on. Fanni Willis going after Trump, going after YSL gang members, having formerly represented some of these persons, got Brian Kemp by some sort of chokehold. We don't know how or what it is, but we know that it is there and nothing is being done about it. This is his last term. He probably couldn't give a rat's ass. He's like, you know what? I don't care. I'm done with this. I'm done with this shit. Is this what's happening? Is this what we are seeing going on right before our eyes? This has been the most corrupt administration that we have seen of all times. This is the most barbaric administration that we have seen, who will stop at nothing to get another term.